Maitri does not endorse any businesses, including but not limited to legal attorneys, financial advisors, and tax consultants that may be advertised before or after the show. Listeners are advised to use their own discretion.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Maitri Show Between Friends. In this show, we will be talking about different issues related to intimate partner violence, family violence and abuse, gender-based violence, and power dynamics in relationships. The goal of our show is to engage our community members in addressing and challenging those harmful social and cultural conditions, norms that make intimate partner violence, family violence and abuse, and other gender-based violence acceptable. We believe our show Between Friends will mobilize our community in ending victim blaming and preventing violence and abuse in partner and familial relationships. In each episode, we will be providing insights and resources that will not only help victims and survivors, but also educate our community members about these issues. These resources and that are available in the community so that they can help someone in need. Tune in every Saturday from 3 to 4 p.m. on Radio Zindagi to listen to the Maitri Show Between Friends. You can also find all episodes of Maitri's Between Friends on our website, Maitri Bay Area Facebook page, and on SoundCloud. You can email your suggestions and feedback to us at maitri@maitri.org. MAITRI. Together, we can end domestic violence, intimate partner violence, and gender-based violence.
अगर आप या कोई और जिसे आप जानते हैं जो घरेलू और डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस से गुजर रहे हैं, कृपया मैत्री से संपर्क करें। मैत्री की सेवाएं बिल्कुल मुफ्त और विश्वसनीय हैं। हमारी सेवाएं हिंदी, पंजाबी, मराठी, गुजराती और अन्य दक्षिण एशियाई भाषाओं में उपलब्ध हैं। You can call us Monday to Friday 9 to 3 p.m. on 188-862-4874. For after hours, leave voicemail in your language. You can also email us at maitri@maitri.org.
This show is for informational purposes only and is not to be construed as legal advice. Always consult an attorney for legal advice. Views expressed by guests of the radio show are individual opinions and not endorsed by Maitri.
Dear friends, I am your host Nandini Ray at the Maitri Show Between Friends. In today's episode, we will be discussing bullying. Those who are listening today, I believe that you know someone who is a victim of bullying. Bullying can take many forms and all forms continue to hurt victims, and many times victims suffer in silence. So friends, what can we do to end bullying? To discuss this, a very important question, we have Kav, Ambar and Tanvi with us today. And they have experience attending middle school and high school in this country. They have seen bullying in their network, in their schools, and most important, they want to raise awareness in preventing bullying. So welcome friends, welcome you all. Can you introduce yourself to our listeners? Because if I start introducing you, I won't be able to stop. So better you do.
Oh no. Hi, I'm Kav. I'm a first-year college student.
And you have been helping Maitri for, last 8 years, I think?
Yeah, for a lot of my life, almost a decade now.
Yeah.
I've been helping Maitri.
And Kav is our youth volunteer. And I'm very, very proud that that Kav is here today to talk about this issue. And then we can go to Ambar.
Hi, my name is Ambar and I go to UC Davis. I'm a first year student and I'm really involved in social projects on college about toxic masculinity, and I'm also part of student government.
Great. Tanvi?
Hi, I'm Tanvi. I'm a junior in high school. I'm a student journalist and I'm also part of the Teen Advisory Committee of Sunnyvale, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you all. Thank you for coming to our show. At Maitri, we believe that if we want to address and eliminate any harmful social condition, it is important to engage our community members, and it is necessary to have a dialogue on the issue to fix the problem. A lot of discussion and awareness is needed, I think, to prevent bullying. And I personally think youth can make a huge difference. They really can bring the real change. They can make a society where all relationships are built on dignity, equity, and compassion. So to know what youth think and what they can do to prevent bullying, to raise awareness, we are doing this episode today. And I really hope that from our discussion, people will get some tips so that, those who are getting bullied, they can get help, they can get some courage. And I really think that today we will be able to motivate hundreds and thousands of kids out there not to bully. You know what? I was, since we are doing this segment, so I was reading some articles, research on bullying, and I found that some statistics that I really want to share with our listeners today. I hope you know that, as youth teens, probably you know that, but many people out there, they don't know yet. So let's share some statistics. According to National Center for Education Statistics, in 2017, about 20% of students 12 to 18 years of age reported being bullied at school during the school year. 70.6% of young people say they have been bullying, they have seen bullying in their schools. 33% of students who reported being bullied at school, they indicated that they were bullied at least once or twice a month in a year. That's huge. And approximately 30% of young people admit to bullying others in survey. They admit that they have bullied someone. That's really shocking. You are youth, you are teen, you are a student. So I'm not. I'm an adult community member. I want to have real story from you. What do you think? How widespread is bullying in high school, or does it start from even middle school? What do you think?
So I would say bullying is not how you see it in movies. It's not up front to people's faces, but at the same time, it is very widespread. So especially on social media and online, there's a lot of cyberbullying that we see. Also, I do think it starts in middle school. I would say in middle school, it's a lot more direct. So for example, in my middle school, there was a special ed student, who loved to dance during lunch, and a lot of students would jokingly cheer him on and take pictures. And it was just really rude. In high school, it's not that upfront. Bullying is more behind people's backs and on social media. So at my high school, a student made an anonymous confessions page on Instagram, and someone openly said that they didn't like a certain student. So it was just a clear attack at that student. But relating to this incident, a lot of supportive students in the comments urged the account to take the post down, which also shows that peers can help prevent bullying in some ways.
Great. Mm-hmm. What about Amber?
So mostly in high school, the bullying that my friends and I mostly faced were near body shaming or stuff that related with just how strong and how much strength basically men had, or how strong you are compared to other people. But I agree with Tanvi that cyberbullying is probably more prevalent nowadays because people develop spam accounts and stuff like that to call out other people in their class, or just technically bash another person's appearance or personality-ish. But I feel like it's prevalent, and the stats that we are provided with may be small too, because a lot of people and students don't really realize that what they're facing is bullying. And nowadays, I feel like with social media and the new platforms, it's more prevalent on the internet. So yeah, cyberbullying is really prevalent in society.
I'm really, surprised that the statistics I was sharing, and I was thinking it's a huge statistics, and you were saying that it's, many times, these are underreported, and the actual statistics can be a lot than that? Oh my God.
I would say bullying starts even before middle school. I'd say it starts in elementary school.
Really?
Yeah, I was bullied as a kid. My bullying started in 2nd grade. And I was bullied through elementary school and throughout middle school.
Oh my God.
And I was bullied for my weight and my sexuality mostly, among other things. And I was not the only student in my school who was bullied. I was among, like, a group of students who was picked on. And a lot of it was, as Tanvi was saying, it was not really, like, upfront to your face. It was, like, behind people's backs. It was more, like, manipulative and toxic. It wasn't the way it's shown in movies. And I think when I was younger, it wasn't as much on social media, because when I was in grade school, it wasn't really prevalent to have for kids to have phones. But once I reached high school, it transitioned more for people to bully people on social media and such. And I think that I definitely second what Amber and Tanvi said for how bullying has now transitioned to be much more prevalent on social media and for cyberbullying to be much more popular.
So you were saying 2nd grade. What do they do? I mean, how do they show aggression or abusive behavior? For me, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, they're kids.
I mean, one of the biggest things is they just straight up called me fat, called me, other mean derogatory words. They body shamed me. They called me mean words. As an insult, they called me a lesbian. They degraded me for my sexuality, which I am a lesbian, but I didn't know it at the time, and they degraded me before I even knew my sexuality. And it was a lot of exclusion. It was a lot of, that's what happened to a lot of my friends. It was a lot of exclusion. It was a lot of kicking people out of groups. It was a lot of toxic mentalities. It was a lot of manipulating people to try to get them to do what they want, and then turning them around and making them seem like the bad guy. It was a very toxic environment.
I'm really sorry to hear that, but I'm like thinking that what kind of society we are in, and that if kids, they can be so manipulative, so aggressive, so abusive, and I don't know, like maybe it's our fault, adults' fault, that they are learning these things. And because kids are kids, they're whatever they are seeing in their lives, they're learning that. So maybe adult community members, if you are listening to this show, you should internalize, you should think deeply that what are we doing? Are we raising our kids right? If they can bully their classmates, their friends in this way, in this painful way, then it must be our fault, adults' fault. And we really need to think about this thing. And for what I'm hearing from you today, that these days children and teens are very much connected to digital world, and I'm sure they're using digital platforms to bully others. But can you be a little bit specific? What kind of things they do to cyberbully?
I feel like in terms of cyberbullying, the specific ones that I have seen are more on like how many people create their own spam account, and that's usually on Instagram. So usually people have a main account and they have their spam account, and in the spam account, most people that I know use it for just like putting pictures and stuff like that, just friendly stuff, no bullying intended. But like a small amount of people use it to trash other people by just calling them out and stuff, because they know that in their spam account, there's only a small group of people that follow them, and it won't really reach out to like the whole school in general because it's private. And I feel like the spam accounts are a pretty big reason, like, of how I saw cyberbullying being really, like, prevalent nowadays, because in terms of, like, confessions pages and stuff, like, I've seen that in, like, my old high school, but it was more positive, so that's why I feel more on the spam accounts issue.
I think at our school there's a lot of problems with slut shaming. So, on social media, like, if a girl posts a picture that she feels that she's confident in, a lot of people will comment and say degrading things like she's, like, searching for attention, just make her feel bad about something that she initially felt good about. So that's a big problem as well. And I don't think people know that it's hurting people who post. Like, I don't know if they know it's hurting their feelings. They might say things as a joke, but they don't really know how it affects people.
So bashing someone's self-esteem, you were talking, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And are you talking about high school or middle school, Kav? What do you think?
I mean, I definitely see a lot of slut shaming and I definitely see a lot of body shaming, but I also just see a lot of straight up exclusion. My friend, who's a college student, was recently telling me how she and her friends had, they were playing an online game. It was she and a group of 5 friends, and 3 of those friends banded off and made a separate group just to exclude one of the people, and they trash talked that one person, and they formed a separate group just to essentially spread rumors and to trash talk one of the people who was in the group.
Oh my God. Today, the more I'm listening from you, the more I'm thinking that what kind of society we are living in. I mean, why people do that? Why a teenager or middle school students, I mean, how can they think of these things? Like how to insult someone, how to bash someone's self-esteem?
When I think of why they do it, I think a lot of it just stems from their own insecurity.
That's a good point. I also think that they are themselves, they are very insecure and they don't want to show that insecurity, so they think that by harming someone, by abusing someone, probably, they will get some power, right? It's a kind of power and control. I have power and I want to show that power too.
I definitely agree. I think there's also an element of jealousy to it. So a lot of the people that are bullied are people who express themselves and are different from the norm, usually. So I think there's an element of jealousy in the people who bully, that the fact that the people they're bullying can be so open about the way they express themselves.
I feel like the insecurities and jealousy are basic roots for bullying. It's also probably mob mentality when one person bashes on another person, and it depends how close they are. Like a group of people start to like adopt that mentality and they just all bash that same person for no reason. But I feel like that all can stem from jealousy and insecurities as well.
I can definitely say that the mob mentality is how it happened at my school. For me and for the other students who were bullied, it was that there was one girl who was essentially the main perpetrator, but because she was the one with all the power, everyone essentially banded with her, and they all just followed her, and they all just did what she wanted. So I think all 3 of those kind of just create like the powerful triad of what powers bullies.
I really hope that people who are bullying others are listening to today's show and they learn about their mistake and they know what they're doing is wrong. And adults, community member, if you are a parent, if you are a teacher, if you're a counselor, please talk to your any kid you know about how wrong this bullying is and how it can be devastating for someone's life. We all have responsibility. We adult, we parents, family members, teachers, counselors, we all have responsibility to bring this issue on the forefront, and we need to talk about this issue. So what I'm hearing now from all 3 of you, that cyberbullying is actually a huge thing now in high school especially, or even in middle school. And cyberbullying is often a byproduct of someone getting bullied in their offline life. And people may use their aggression from their real life and choose to lash out on social media, right? Some concerns I'm seeing here that it can be persistent. Victims, they're not getting any relief because cyberbullying can happen 24/7 and they don't need to be here present at school or somewhere. Like they can do anything from their home, or basically they just need a device to abuse someone. So it can be persistent. And also it can be damaging for someone. It can, whatever is on the net, it can be permanent. And even those who are bullying, they sometimes don't understand that a negative online reputation, including for those who bully, can impact college admission, employment, and other areas of life. So many times they don't, without realizing that they're using online platforms to bully someone, to be vicious, to be abusive. And it is sometimes hard to prove. How can you prove to your parents or to your teachers that it is happening? Because it is private, right? So it's not happening, they're not seeing.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like that is right. It's on point.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's hard to, I feel like the line of making jokes sometimes in bullying is very thin, and it's hard to know how people really feel about things that are said towards them. So I definitely agree that it's hard sometimes to see like the line.
That can be devastating for someone, but what do you think? They do this with a purpose or just without knowing anything?
I have a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a very small platform, so I don't get many hate comments, but I've gotten a few in my time. In one of my videos, I talked about my suicide attempt, and one of the comments I got was that I should have killed myself.
Oh, God.
And that was like, I think the worst hate comment I've gotten. I've gotten a few others throughout my time. And when I see those comments, it affects me a bit, but to me, it's like that person, there's something wrong in their life. There's something so wrong in their life. They're so insecure.
Yes.
Or they're so unhappy in their life that they felt the need to say that to someone they don't even know.
Yes, of course. You are so right. You are so on point that they are insecure. They are not happy with their life. That's why they can, they can think of hurting someone, or they can think of abusing someone, or they can think of insulting someone. I mean, I don't know how to describe that. I'm so mad at this point and so frustrated. I'm feeling frustrated that how come teenager, they are our future of this community, for this society. They can do a lot of good things. They can create a beautiful community, a beautiful society where all relationships can thrive on friendship, on equity, on dignity, on compassion. They are also hurt, I think. They are also not happy. Anyone who is hurting someone cannot be happy. Don't you think so?
Yeah, from my experience, and I'm interested to hear if Amber and Tanvi agree, it's that it's a vicious cycle, because oftentimes a saying is that people who bully were bullied. Like, oftentimes if someone's a bully, it's because they have a bad home life, or it's because they were bullied when they were younger. It's because it's what they know. It's a vicious cycle. They were hurt, so they think that what they need to do is hurt other people. They're giving to others what they got. Cruelty is a vicious cycle. You hurt when you were hurt, and that's why that's all they know.
Maybe adults, sometimes they don't understand that they are showing bullying to their children. They are showing aggressiveness to their children, abuse to their children, and they are learning. Children are learning. It's a learned behavior. They are learning that anger is the only way. Control is the only way. So anyway, I was also reading an article that says that only about 20 to 30% of students who are being bullied, they notify adults about bullying. So I was thinking that they are suffering tremendous pain by themselves. They don't want to share that pain, that their negative experience with their parents or any trusted adults. Why is that?
I feel like that all depends on their environment and the way they grew up in, because sometimes it's hard for many children to have a tight bond with their dad or their mom and have that deep of a relationship where they can talk about their insecurities and how they're being bullied at school. But also, it's also in as a youth, it's in our minds that our parents have so much stress already. You don't want to add more stress regarding what's going on, this and that. Because we see what our parents go through when they're going through work and stuff like that. And I feel in order for that to be fixed, it all depends on an effort from both sides, from the kid and the parent, of course, that they want to have a deep and meaningful relationship, that if the kid is facing something at school, they should feel open to talk to their own parents about it.
I definitely agree. I think we just have to foster like an environment, like especially in our homes, where we can be more open about like our problems or what we're going through. I know like a lot of us might go home and then our parents ask like, oh, how was your day? And you just say fine. And then you go back into your room. But I think I totally agree. Like, I think it needs to be on both sides. We have to be talking about how we're feeling more. I think that's really important to, solve our problems that we might be having.
I want to talk more on the reporting to school side of things. I reported with a group of other people who had been bullying to 2 different schools, because I went to a different elementary and different middle school and I was bullied in both. And I reported to both schools about my bullying and nothing was done in either school. In my elementary school, the bully was in the room. We had a conversation of sorts where the bully essentially manipulated the conversation and blamed the bullying on a person who was not in the room. So she essentially manipulated the teacher into believing that someone else was the perpetrator. But in the middle school conversation, me and a couple of other victims of bullying went into a conversation with a teacher who essentially did not take us seriously, despite the fact that we were crying and we were obviously distraught. And her advice was just for us to kill them with kindness. And she basically just kicked us out of her office. And I have known many other friends from different schools who have told their schools, who have gone to their principals or their teachers and who have reported bullying and who have just not been taken seriously. So I think that is why so much of bullying goes unreported, because in the cases where people try and when people do try to speak up, they're not taken seriously, so they lose hope.
Oh God. So I don't know what to say here. Like, I think that I was assuming that school, they should have, or they must have some assembly or class meeting, on bullying, cyberbullying, to teach students, hey, this is the sign of bullying, or you don't do this, or if you are doing this can happen. So they don't have any, schools, they don't have any assembly or class meeting on bullying. And
yeah, so in middle school and high school, we had assemblies about bullying and like how we should prevent it and how peers are a great part of preventing bullying. But at the same time, I don't think a lot of students like take it seriously, and a lot of the teachers as well don't take it very seriously. Like, a lot of our teachers, especially during middle school, they like laughed during the presentations. Students weren't paying attention. So
teachers laughed at the presentation on this very serious issue.
Yeah.
Oh,
so I think it can't just be a normalized thing. It can't just be a routine assembly. Like, it really has to be internalized in both like the teachers and the students, that it needs to be something that's prevented.
I think those presentations are more like to cover the schools for like legal reasons and such, less to like actually protect the students. That's more like, if bullying happens, we're not legally responsible because we gave this presentation. Like, it's not because anyone in the school, like the teachers or the administration, genuinely cares for the students' well-being.
I feel like from my high school perspective that my school actually did at least an okay job, or a great job, I'd say, in like talking about bullying. But even when there were presentations at certain class periods, yeah, there were students who really didn't care as much about what was going on because they're like, oh, we hear about this all the time. But it's just that whenever we heard about stories about people getting punished for bullying, whether it be suspensions or possibly expulsions, I think that's when it hit kids in my school like the hardest, that like, wow, this is something serious and we should really like stop and maybe change our habits and stuff. But I feel like in order to like even set an example to like high school students or middle school students, it's like the punishment that the district can make about bullying, which would like give fear to those students to like not bully others.
Personally, I think these assemblies and things should have started in elementary school, because I feel like there's still a lot of mean students that, don't have empathy for others in some cases, but I feel like students in elementary school are more receptive and generally can absorb more good messages in elementary school, and like I think that would carry on through middle school and high school rather than just having assemblies in middle school and high school when students are already having like tendencies of bullying other students.
I definitely agree that if these started at a younger age, it would probably be more beneficial. I also think that maybe we should like start examining the reasons why students bully and have more preventative measures to stop students from bullying, have more counseling services available for students, and like take more measures to protect students' like mental health and protect their social lives instead of just caring about their academic lives, because as long as we're just doing that, we're not caring about the students as a whole being.
Yeah, so the early, the better. I mean, school district, they need to take it very seriously. Teachers, they need to take it very seriously. And adults, parents, family members, they also need to take it very seriously because kids are kids. I mean, if they are told that this is wrong from the very beginning, maybe they will get it. But if you are, delaying in that, giving that message to them until they're, in high school or college, maybe, then it is too late and everything is, everything is connected. Those who are doing this kind of behavior, bullying in elementary school, they will be most likely doing the same thing in middle school or high school and eventually in college, right? It is very, very important to catch them very early, to let them know what they're doing is wrong very early. I would like to point out here that at present, no federal law directly addresses bullying. In some cases, bullying overlaps with discriminatory harassment, which is covered under federal civil rights laws enforced by the U.S. Department of Education and the U.S. Department of Justice. No matter what label is used, that is bullying, hazing, teasing, schools are obligated by these laws to address conduct that is severe, pervasive, or persistent, creates a hostile environment at school, that is, it is sufficiently serious that it interferes with or limits a student's ability to participate in or benefit from the services, activities, or opportunities offered by a school. So it is very important to report bullying to your school, talk to a trusted adult, talk to a teacher, talk to your teacher whom you trust, and I believe you can also talk to your school counselor. It is important to share your pain with someone to find the right solution. So friends, 3 young community members are here today discussing bullying, and they are sharing wonderful tips. Please listen to this show and think about it and do something about it. So the discussion I'm having with you, I'm just having one question in my mind right now, that can a parent or teacher or peer spot that a child or teen is undergoing bullying or cyberbullying?
I feel like for that, it's easier to spot maybe in like middle school or elementary school when kids have like they seem sad from their face or stuff in general, because in high school, a lot of my friends who were bullied used to mask it off with like a happy face and stuff like that. And it's kind of hard to really find someone who's genuinely like, who from a physical appearance, you're going to see that like, oh, he's actually being bullied or he's really sad or depressed, because most students really keep it to themselves. And I feel like it's also that the students can also get the courage to hopefully open up to a trusted adult, which is really hard. But I feel like that's also a step in which as students, we can really talk to trusted adults. But I would say that it depends on how you read other people. But it's definitely easier for like counselors and teachers to notice in elementary and middle school that like, oh, this kid is being bullied and he's really sad every day when he comes to school.
I think in our society, we generally have like a stigma around mental health and sharing our feelings. So, related to what you're saying, I think we have to like kind of break down that barrier, because a lot of people are afraid to share how they really feel, especially, in high school, people keep their emotions bottled up a lot. And relating to your question, I think cyberbullying can be alleviated better when peers interfere, because I feel like a lot of adults don't have access to social media. So if peers can like police each other, I mean, I think that's a really good thing. If we can encourage like being positive on social media just within our communities, I think that's also really important.
I definitely agree with a lot of what Tanvi said. I feel like, especially about the mental health stigma part in society, we're expected to always like seem happy, and we're expected to not like share or even like showcase that we're experiencing pain or experiencing sadness even, and we're expected to always like seem happy or okay. So it's hard even in like middle school and stuff. I feel like people even at that young of an age feel that pressure to seem quote unquote okay. So I think it's hard for people to see the signs of being bullied. I feel like if you look hard enough, you can see it, because I think that even when people are suffering, to some extent they are screaming out for help, but you have to look closely enough to see it. And it's a hard dichotomy to balance. So I don't really know if there's an easy solution to it.
Yeah, you're right. And I was like thinking that, when the bully who are bullying others, do you think that their attitude, people can easily see that they're the one who are bullying? I mean, school, maybe if you are bullied by someone, that that person is the perpetrator. But for adults, for family members, for parents, how do I know that my son is not a bully? I mean, what he is doing in school, probably I don't know. It is possible that he is the bully, or it is possible that he is getting bullied. But how do I know that if my son or my daughter, they are bullying others?
I feel like for that, it is a difficult task, but a way you can notice it is probably with the people they hang out with at the end of the day. Whenever they have hangouts at their own house or at other people's house, and you see like how their friends really are, and if you can like basically get a gist of like how they are talking about other people or stuff like that. Because I know this goes back to mob mentality, but it's also like bullying also can stem from the people you surround yourself with. So if you're able to see your child's friend group and see it's not really healthy for him, maybe you should actually like talk to them about it or call them out on it, because that's when you can really see like their behavior in school with that friend group, and you can see if they're actually bullying other people or if they're facing other issues.
I think it's really hard. I knew like my perpetrator's mom very well. I was like almost friends with my perpetrator's mom. Like I knew her extremely well, and she would have no idea that her daughter was a bully. God. She would have not known at all. And I feel like maybe my situation would have been harder to explain, because really her daughter was not just a bully. She was like abusive, and the signs of abuse are even harder to explore. But I think that maybe, looking not just at the people they surround themselves with, but looking at how those people are acting. Like, what's their body language? Do they seem okay? Do they seem like safe? Do they seem comfortable? Because like I wasn't okay when I was around. I was scared.
Okay.
Right. So look at that.
That's a good point. Do you have any tips for those who are suffering from cyberbullying? How can they avoid cyberbullying? What should they do?
Most of my friends, after they graduated high school, they stopped using social media itself, because when you're on social media, there's pros that like you'll keep in contact with all your friends, but the cons are also like you're going to be subject to cyberbullying. So usually it's like maybe if it's just not being as active on social media as much, but it's also along that line.
But it is very hard at this age. Don't you think so? For asking teen that do not go to... I mean, I'm just asking your opinion.
Yeah, it is definitely hard nowadays with like TikTok, Snapchat, and whatever social media that does exist. But I feel like personally, like I usually keep Facebook more for like, club stuff or any ongoing events. And it's all, at the end of the day, it's all a mental game. If you want social media to really control your life, then you can let it control your life by like posting a lot on Instagram or Snapchat and stuff like that. But if you really don't want it to control your life, then you can also control that and still live your life, because social media is really popular nowadays, but it's not like the only thing in the world too.
Yeah, social media can be a really toxic place, especially for like kids growing up. Like, we just have unrealistic expectations because of social media.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, you can definitely either let social media go, or a big thing is just unfollowing people that you feel like they bring negative energy towards you.
Mm.
Or like there's report features, or I think the most important thing is to tell trusted people in your life about certain issues that you're facing. So teachers,
Adults,
peers,
parents.
Yeah, I feel like that's the most important thing.
I know that social media has a lot of cons, but also I have a YouTube channel, so in a lot of ways, I'm pro social media. I've seen a lot of the benefits of it as well. Like, a lot of the people I've met on social media, they grew up in houses where they didn't belong. You know, maybe they were in like the LGBTQ plus community, or they had mental illnesses and their families like weren't accepting. So in social media, they found homes, they found friends where they belonged. And so for them, it was really like a safe space. So I've seen pros in it in that way. And I think, for me, like, I think it's really about curating your space. And I speak out about this stuff on social media. Like, a lot of my channel, it's about representation. So I deal with people who are going to send hate no matter what. Like, I have to deal with those conversations no matter what. I'm never going to be free of that. And I just have to be ready for that. You have to mentally prepare for whatever you're putting on social media.
Okay.
And you have to curate your space, because while I know I'm going to deal with that, I also know I have so many people in my corner who are going to jump up to defend me whenever those people come.
I also wanted to just add on that, like, for anyone who's actually going through this, that it's hard, but at the end of the day, you'll need the courage to speak up if you want something to change, because even when you're going through this stuff, it's definitely traumatizing and very difficult, and it takes time to open up. But in order to make, like, you can get over it by yourself, but it's easier when you have a supportive group with you. And in order to do that, you really need to, like, speak up and have courage to speak out against it.
Wonderful, Amber. I actually was thinking that, like, social media, what Kav said, that we can use that platform for so many good things. We can build a movement on social media to prevent bullying. So if teens, children, they are using social media, they can use this platform to end bullying, to prevent bullying, to talk about this subject, that how wrong is it? How wrong people, if they're abusing someone. And on the flip side, people are using this to abuse someone. So that is wrong. That is heartbreaking. But I'm very hopeful that, I'm talking to you, like, I'm sure that there are more teens, children like you out there, those who believe that we can speak up against it, we can end bullying, we can end abuse, and they are doing something like what you are doing. They are also doing something, and I'm very hopeful. I want to believe that majority of kids and teens, they are like that. Maybe handful of them are abusive, handful of them are doing wrong things, and we will they can be defeated by you, right? What do you think? Are you hopeful like me, or you were just thinking, no, that's not gonna happen, nothing is gonna change? What do you think?
I am really hopeful about it, because each group is like, each generation, I'd say, is really changing, and there's more talk about topics like these nowadays in our society. And I think, social media can be used for positive purposes, and it already is, for like, whether it be for like school and gun laws and other social issues in our country. But I feel like I am personally very hopeful, and I know it will take time and generations to come to really fix this issue, but I'm pretty optimistic about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty optimistic as well. I think generally I hope that our generation is more open, and we care more about certain issues that were left behind, like in generations past. And relating to social media, I think it can be a really good place to end bullying. Like, as I used an example in the beginning, that a high school student made an anonymous confessions page and someone bullied another student on that confessions page. But after that incident, a lot of students commented saying, please take down this post. So I think that's a really powerful message that, like, there's a lot more students that want to prevent bullying and want to spread positivity. So I am really hopeful.
Great. What do you think?
I'm a bad person to end on. I'm a trauma survivor who lives with mental illnesses. I can be very jaded at times, but I cycle back and forth. Sometimes I feel very hopeless. Sometimes I feel very hopeful, but I see the people who are trying and I see the people who are putting in all their effort to make change, and they do give me hope. They do make me feel like it will take time and it won't happen overnight. It won't happen in like the next 10 years, but it will happen one day.
We will make it happen. With you, we can make it happen. We cannot let them win. Those bullies cannot win. We will make that happen, right? We can make that change happen. We can make a society where all people, irrespective of their gender, their color, their language, their race, their ethnicity, they will be thriving on equity, on compassion, on dignity. So we'll make sure that it happens. We will bring the change. And I am old. But I am saying everything because I know that I'm seeing that possibility in you. I'm seeing that you can make that change. So I'm very hopeful. And so I think it's almost time to end. And I hope that people are listening and thinking about this issue, want to do something, will do something. And I am very positive we will do another show with you guys with another issue that bothers, us. So right now, I would say that solutions to bullying are not simple. It takes the entire community, students, families, policymakers, administrators, teachers, counselors, even school cafeteria staff or even school bus drivers. It takes all of us in creating a culture of respect and end bullying. And if you are a student, if you are listening to this show, and if you are a student and listening this program, then please know that all of us should stand firmly against bullying. You can be a leader in preventing bullying in your community. You can help someone who is in pain, support someone who is being bullied by other mean souls. If we all try, then we will be able to stop bullying even before it happens. And for parents, I would like to say that if you are listening to this show, you can also help prevent bullying by keeping the lines of communication open. Talking to your children about bullying, modeling kindness and respect, and encouraging them to get help when they get bullied. And if you know that your children are bullying someone, then please talk to your children and tell them that it is wrong. You cannot do it. It is not, we cannot accept that behavior. And tell them what is right. Tell them about compassion. Teach them about compassion, about empathy. And today, we are ending this show with a lot of hope, a lot of courage that we will bring that change. We will make that happen. And I am really thanking all of three of you from bottom of my heart for sharing your thoughts with our listeners. And thank you Tanvi, thank you Ambar, thank you Kav for your input, your knowledge, your concern, your experience, sharing your hope with us. Thank you. Keep listening. Maitri Radio Show, Between Friends, Conversation with Maitri. Be there for us. Thank you.
अगर आप या कोई और जिसे आप जानते हैं जो घरेलू और डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस से गुजर रहे हैं, कृपया मैत्री से संपर्क करें। मैत्री की सेवाएं बिल्कुल मुफ्त और विश्वसनीय हैं। हमारी सेवाएं हिंदी, पंजाबी, मराठी, गुजराती और अन्य दक्षिण एशियाई भाषाओं में उपलब्ध हैं। यू कैन कॉल अस Monday to Friday 9 to 3 p.m. on 188-862-4874 or after hours leave voicemail in your language. You can also email us at